Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and welcome to another Octopath Traveler 2 video. Today, we are talking about how Ochet and Hannett have changed, or basically how they're different, how the Hunter class job has changed from Octopath Traveler 1 to Octopath Traveler 2. Really quick before we jump into it, though, just want to say Octopath Traveler 2 is releasing this Friday, and I will be doing a live stream all day playing the game, and then for multiple days afterwards, just playing the game, having a good time. So, if you like Octopath Traveler 2, it is worth dropping a subscribe and a notification to see when I'm going live. I'll be streaming both here on YouTube and on Twitch, whatever you prefer. Both chats will be open. And yeah, we're just going to have a good time enjoying the game and exploring it in more depth. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the hunters. So very first, let's actually look at the characters themselves before the job. Now, Hannett and Ochet are pretty similar in a lot of ways. They both have the axe and bow, right? But they both have a starting companion. However, Ochet has gotten a bit of a buff, I would say. You get to choose which companion you get, and instead of only having 2 attacks, these pets have the ability to attack a weakness of a specific type. So like the fox can hit physical weaknesses. It'll always do a random attack, but it'll always hit a weakness when able to on the target you choose for it to attack. And the owl can do the same thing, but with elemental attacks instead. And then if a foe is broken, they have a different attack called like Arcane Blade or Final Slash or something. It seems like kind of weak to use them on a broken foe, but it's something that's always there. And it doesn't cost any SP or anything, so it's a good option in general. Especially, it's better than auto attacking if you're out of SP. Befriend, you can actually capture and basically, I guess it's befriending, not capturing, but you can grab people. I can't show you because it's daytime and I'm not far enough into this demo to actually let me have it show you, but you can capture someone, have it follow around, so you have even more flexibility. So you also have like a summon ability, and on top of a provoke ability, which is the ability to call pets in combat. So you have a crazy amount of flexibility, even more so than Hannett had. The only other thing that's super important to note about the core changes, I suppose, is that when you capture an animal in this game, they don't have a finite number of uses. You could use them as much as you want, and then when you decide that you're done with them, like if you want to get rid of them, you could just go to your monsters and you can be like, all right, I don't want the slug, and then you can get an item for the slug, and you know, that will give you you get an item, and that item is like a buff thing. Like I could use this, get rotten meat, and then if I go to rotten meat, I don't actually remember what it does. Poisons an ally for 3 turns, but raises their physical and elemental attack for 3 turns. So maybe that's not the best one, even though it's probably pretty good. But there's all kinds of that kind of stuff, you know. So that's what happens. You don't have to worry about running out of uses. Now, other than that, we also have the talent. Capture beasts, summon them in the battle. Prepare recovery items and more. Oh, so the fact that she can actually, I guess that makes sense. The fact that she can prepare food from the captured animals, which is a little morbid, is still pretty good though. But yeah, that's basically the main differences there. So let's actually take a look at the skills though. So they're actually quite a bit different. They're more balanced, I would say, overall. Again, we don't have the divine skill, if that's still what they're called here. Some people are letting me know what they are in the comments down below, but because the game's not even out yet and this is just a demo, I kind of prefer just to leave that a little bit. This is like a really intro guide to see how they, you know, how they've changed in the early game mostly. I'm not trying to do a complete perfect knowledge list. So even though I could probably easily find what the divine skill is, I'm choosing to kind of keep that because some of the fun is actually discovering what these mystery abilities are when you're playing, right? We want to get an overview of the job without having to get every single bit of information, at least in an initial video. We'll do updated ones in the future, but anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. So rain of arrows is what we used to have, and now we have precise shot. Now I think a lot of these abilities have gotten nerfed, but also buffs. It's just kind of like a reworking of the class in general while still having a similar identity, which is very, very cool. So we have, number 1, we have precise shot. 6 SP, unleash a bow attack on selected foes 2 times. Your boost will increase the number of times. So it goes, you know, from 2 to 3, 4, and 5. So up to 5 times. And what's cool about this is you could choose each attack, the target of each attack. It's not random at all. It's very specific. So if you do all 5 attacks, you could do 1 here, you know, 1 on enemy A, 1 on enemy B, 1 on enemy C, and then 2 more on enemy A. You know, like you could, or you could do, you know, if you didn't want to do it that way, you could just do all 4. You know, you could do 4 on enemy A, 1 on enemy B. You could do any combination. You choose, and she'll attack in the order that you chose. Is there a reason you would want to attack an enemy, attack a different enemy, then go back to them? Maybe, maybe not, but it doesn't matter. It lets you, and that's very cool. It's a very powerful feeling ability, and it's very fun to use. She jumps up into the sky and will go like, da, 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 hitting everybody. Then she lands for the final hit. Now, this does come at the downside of this only attacks 2 times by default. So, Rain of Arrows attacks random foes 5 to 8 times with the bow. That's what we're giving up. So this is way less hits. We're way less of a shield breaker with this ability, but the accuracy is not something you have to worry about nearly as much. I believe Rain of Arrows missed like all the time. I don't think this is called precise shot. I don't even think I've ever missed with this ability in the demo that I've been playing. So something that's kind of worth noting. It's just a very different ability overall. Thunderbird, this is unchanged from the first one, I think, in every single aspect. I mean, just lightning damage to a single foe. Easy peasy. Now this might work with a Oswald. I know Oswald is going to work really well with the cleric. I'm not sure if things like this will actually work with Oswald and hit everything twice. It doesn't really have to because Oswald already has that, but I'm just kind of interested if Thunderbird would work that way. Also, I'm interested if this is different. No, Oswald's attacks all. This is a single target. Got it. Cleaving Blow. This is a completely new ability, and I actually don't think the original Hunter had any axe abilities at all. So this is very cool. I really like this ability, but we're giving up probably, it's hard to say. There's a couple different attacks here. This is probably like our true strike. Instead of dealing critical bow damage to a single foe, we're instead doing a powerful axe attack on a single foe, but you grant yourself a positive status effect based on the foe's type. So I'm not even sure of what everything it can be. It says a positive status effect. It doesn't just say an attribute one. So maybe you can get increased strength, increased defense, increased elemental defense, and speed and evasion. Those kinds of things can show up, but maybe you can even get things like regen. Maybe you can get things like, I don't know, like really cool, very fringe abilities. It all depends on what you're fighting, not what you bring, so you can't prepare. But I'm kind of excited to see what some bosses will provide when you're cleaving, blowing them. I just like the option to have a powerful attack that has a secondary ability to buff yourself or extend the duration of buffs if you already have a bunch of buffs on you. It's just a very cool ability. It's probably lower damage than something like True Strike, which did guaranteed critical damage, but maybe not. It's kind of hard for me to tell. I don't know how much damage the Hunter did. I didn't use the Hunter a whole lot in Octopath 1. Mercy Strike, this is identical to what it was in Octopath 1. Unleash a bow attack on a single foe. If it would kill a target, it instead leaves it with 1 HP. This will make it very easy to capture. However, you do have a passive 25% to capture things anyway, even when you kill them. So this is only for targets that you really want to capture, and you want to be very careful. Typically, if something's even like half-life or lower, you could fully boost a capture and be fine, like have a high percentage. But this is always there. I don't know if this is the most necessary ability, but it's kind of nice just to have it. Take Aim. This is also identical. Increase all allies critical rate and accuracy for 2 turns. That actually seems pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be as good in this game as it was in Octopath 1. We're going to need more abilities with low accuracy that hit a lot of times for this ability to be good, because increasing accuracy when you're already almost always landing hits is not very good. Like, I very rarely miss abilities in the early game. Maybe in the mid game and late game this will become much better. Critical rate, on the other hand, this is, again, like when it comes to critical rate, this isn't something like we're getting up to 100% critical rate. So I typically am like, I don't like relying on criticals, but if you consider this just an overall, if you consider this an AoE DPS increase for the team, you know, or DPT, damage per turn, I guess, increase for the team, then that's pretty good. Because this is, right, your whole team will land slightly more criticals and they'll miss slightly less. And that means you can combine this with like a physical attack up or an elemental attack up to get 2 or 3 different ways of increasing your damage overall. So it's probably decent. I don't know if it's worth a turn most of the time, especially only for 2 turns. This seems like an ability that'll be kind of fringe, but honestly, I think that because it is a way of increasing your damage without increasing your attack stats, that this could be good. Leg Hold Trap. I actually don't even know. Was this in the first one? It was. Cause a single foe to act at the end of the turn for 2 turns. I mean, that seems pretty good, right? Especially for bosses, it gives you an extra turn to break them. Like if you're going last and then they're going to go first, like you could just move them to the back of the next turn. Gives you a whole basically free turn to break them if you're about to. This might even interfere with their, after they're broken, to go first again. Like Hold Trap seems like this might be pretty actually sick. I'm thinking about the use cases of it. And obviously as like a solo character, it's terrible, but in a party of 4, that could be pretty clutch. This could really help you set up some insanely powerful turns. You are missing out on damage, but I think the upside is probably way high enough for that. And then we actually have a very interesting ability here. So we're missing out on what I assume to be Arrow Storm here, where you're attacking all foes 5 to 8 times with a bow. So we're missing out on a ton of shield breaking abilities here. But this one has nullify one of a single foe's augmenting effect. So you got a dispel. Now it's a very weird for me, it feels like, to have a dispel on a hunter, but I'm really happy that someone has it. It's also very weird to get rid of the Arrow Storm. So like this character has a totally different, more supporty like style of play, it feels like. It's kind of weird because like you're not like, they were already a shield breaker before and they're still a shield breaker, but they were really only shield breaking for, you know, bows, right? They didn't have a whole lot of stuff outside of bows to be able to hit. So now they have like a powerful axe attack to hit them with, and precise shot is still decent at breaking shields, although you have to use your BP, which is not ideal. You want to break without BP, so you could use BP for damage, but they're both useful. But then you have all these like support abilities. So you've got good damage, and then you've got these very interesting support abilities. I am interested to see exactly what this EX skill is, kind of how it ties the kit together. But overall, I'd say this is a pretty good character. But let's go ahead and look at the support skills. Some of these are the same and some of them are different. Actually, I think the final one is quite a bit better. Maybe it's hard to say. I like it a lot more. But heightened senses gain an increased chance of attacking first in battle. Basically, you just have a higher chance of ambushing enemies, right? That's whatever. It's cool. I don't know if this can work on bosses and stuff, but it seems reasonable. I probably won't use it, but maybe it's really annoying to get ambushed in fights. Eagle Eye raised the equipping character's critical rate by 50. This I have a hard time seeing as being good. 50 does not seem like a lot. Let's take a look at our current skills or our current status. Like, what is our, maybe we could look at equipment. Our crit's 94. Like, it's not even a 50% increase at level fucking 1, you know? I don't know. I suspect this isn't very good. 50 seems like low because it's a critical rate. It's not, if it's like a critical percent chance by 50%, that's something that's like crazy. So I don't know. How much does this equate to? Is this like 5%, 6%, 1%? Does it get worse as you level up? Does the critical rate? So this is, without the math, I don't know how good this is, but I suspect it's pretty bad. More rare monsters. This is just fun. I mean, this is going to be something that's going to be super important for people that are trying to 100% the game. Probably not something that's very good for people that are just playing casually. But I mean, by rare of encountering rare monsters, I assume that this is mostly going to be the EXP stuff, like Kates and whatever, the Octopath travelers and stuff like that. I assume there's not like rare spawns of super difficult monsters that drop gear. This is probably mostly going to be the EXP grinding stuff, right? And then Salt the Wound. The equipping character has a 50% chance of acting twice when breaking a foe. That's fucking sick. That means, so it's not like you, from the way I'm reading this and interpreting it, it doesn't mean you get a second turn in that same turn. It's kind of, it can be one of two things, and I'm not 100% sure because I don't have these unlocked. It either means when you break a foe, you get an additional action in terms like it becomes your turn again, and then you may go ahead and do another thing. That's really good. Or it means that there's a 50% chance that when your action breaks an enemy, it does that exact same thing again. So if you did like a 4 BP precise shot, maybe it would do a second 4 BP precise shot. I'm not sure which of those is. I think it's probably the first one, where when you break a foe, then you have a 50% chance to just get an extra turn. Boom, right there. So not 100% sure on this. Now, to be honest, this is probably weaker than what was Patience, what we had before, which was the equipping character has a 25% of acting again at the end of any turn. That's probably stronger. This can only be affected by one character, right? Like, you can equip it on everybody, but there's not really a point, because only the equipping character has a 50% chance when breaking a foe. It's not when a foe breaks, it's when they break the foe. So if you had this on your whole team and Ochet broke the character, none of the other characters have a 0% chance, right? Only she has the 50% chance. So I think it's an incredibly good ability but I think this is something that might be used having on all characters. It's not at the same time. Like, depending on the fight, you'll switch it out. Like, all right, who's going to be doing the shield breaking this fight, and then bring that in for this on that character. That way they can get extra turns and extra damage. And maybe it's just better on a support character to break a foe and then do like an AoE. Maybe you do like a take aim, something like that after that. I don't know. But overall, these are pretty good abilities. I think the hunter has gotten, it feels like a nerf, but I think it's a rework overall. I like the abilities more. I like something like precise shot more than I like rain of arrows. I like having stuff like cleaving blow, had to have a powerful axe option, not just have everything be bow related. And honestly, I prefer having a dispel ability over having a giant AoE attack everybody with low accuracy. Now, the downside might be, like, I don't remember if you could easily dispel things with items. If you could dispel things with items, then this ability could quickly become irrelevant, and that's kind of lame. But again, you could boost it, so I assume it, because the number 1, it'll go like nullify 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, or maybe all at max boost of an enemy's augmenting effects. But I think this ability is going to be really good, probably really clutch. Enemies doing powerful things to themselves is frequently an RPG like, uh-oh, we're getting fucked next turn. So this could be a good way to get rid of that stuff. And like Old Trap just seems good enough to bring the hunter. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much. Let me know what you feel about the hunter and how they changed. Most people like Ochette, I think. I think she has a bigger fan base than Hannett so far. Also, let me know if you pick Ochette, what pet are you going to pick? Are you going to pick the fox or the incorrect one, which is the owl? Now, I think the owl might actually be better, but the fox is so much cooler that I could never pick the owl. Sorry, owl fans, but fox dogs are cooler. Anyway, that's it for today. Much love, Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I will see you next time. Peace.